All right, y'all, today we're going to be putting a lever lock anchor trolley on my X. I want to talk to you I'll walk through you a little bit. You guys, there's plenty of videos folks put on. You don't want to see all that, but I'm going to go ahead and put mine on here today and then talk to you about why I use it. So let's get through the process. Now for me, of course, I've got my 1/8" drill bit, and you do not have to put silicone or 520 or anything like that underneath these things. But for me, if I'm putting a hole in a boat, it's just, I like to just extra sealing. Yeah, I know you don't have to. I've heard it. I know you don't have to, but it's my boat. I'm doing it. So anyway, your mileage might vary, but if you put any type of adhesive on your boat, silicone or 520 or whatever, always go over it with alcohol in the areas that you're going to be doing it. That just helps with the adhesion. So like I said, my thing, but we're doing it. The number one thing I would say before you add your anchor trolley is paddle the boat. Paddle the boat, see where, throw an anchor off of it in a few areas and see where you like it to sit, where you like it to ride. For me, I know in this boat, of course, I'm right-handed and I tend to worry about the rope with my right hand, so I always want mine on my right side, and that's the side that every anchor trolley I've ever done has gone on. And on this boat, I know that for me, I like for it to hang right here off the front when I'm wanting to face up into the current or into the wind. So my front part is going to be, the first pulley is going to be up here. And then on the back, really honestly, back here by the rod holder in the back is far enough back for me to go to do what I need to for the back one. So on this boat, you know, it's not going to be a really long anchor trolley. Now I've had some 14-foot boats, it's like you use every bit of the rope seems like, but on this boat, shorter, fatter, you know, I'm already getting into the hard curve. That area and this area are going to be perfectly fine. I got all the pieces and parts laid out, so you always want to verify and make sure that everything that you have, of course this is one that's got a backing plate, so if this doesn't have the backing plate, we're not worried about that. But I want to make sure that I've got the pieces that I need laid out here. All right, drilling the first hole is always the hardest. You want to make sure the wheel is facing back this way. Just think about it that this ramp, you know, if you're hitting trees, branches, or brush or anything like that, this ramp is going to help to deflect out and around the rest of your trolley. So you want it pointing like that. Another tip, don't bow up. These are not bolts. I mean, you're not cranking it down trying to match. Just snug them up. They'll stay where you're supposed to be. All right, now that the 4 1/2 pulleys are installed, the next thing you need to think about is your lock for your rope. So for me, think about where my hand is at the most when it's easy, where it swings down beside me. You know, and in this boat, I'm apt to be in high or low. So right in this area is going to be good for me, and I can get to it easily. And you'll notice I've got this is my paddling water line. So the water line's coming up here, you know, as I paddle. It's usually down about here, but as I'm leaning in, cutting edges and things like that, I'll end up with a little bit of water up here. So I'm right here above my water line, but right here below where my hand hangs. I don't want it up so high that I'm going to hit my knuckles on it when I'm paddling. So, and that's of course with bad paddling form, but you know what I mean. But it's going to go right there, and that'll be perfectly in line with my pulleys, and I can work from right here. All right, I got the lever lock installed. Went ahead and put the rope in. One tip I can tell you about the rope is if you're installing it on a hot day, your boat's going to be longer. So as soon as you have cold weather, you're going to come out and your rope's going to be hanging down like this, because your boat's going to shrink a whole lot more than what people realize. On the inverse side of that, if you install this on a very cold day and you come out and your boat is and it gets hot, it is going to stretch this line very, very tight. So just be aware, if you install it in the cold, give a little bit of a little bit of slack. If you install it hot, I'd pull it pretty tight. Now it's a mild day to me, so I kind of went in the middle. But this is the lever lock, and what this does is when you this is where you tie your anchor line going to, and whenever you want to send it out, you send out what you want to wherever it goes, and once it gets there, it locks. This actually locks your trolley, so you don't have to worry about it sliding up any further if you don't want it to go, or sliding back any further you want to go. You want to change position, just move it back, and whenever you're ready to go, just lock it underneath there, lock it back, and it's where it needs to be. So handy dandy. These pieces are meant if you have a longer boat, you can kind of put them as a guide out here. On this boat, I don't think it's going to be a problem, so I could put one out here if I wanted to, but I probably won't. I've got them. I'm going to save them just in case, but I'm going to run it just like this without it, and then I'll see if I need it. But this is the anchor trolley. Now, to get to the why. I mean, I see it from a lot of people. They're like, why would I need an anchor trolley? For me, I fish a lot of moving water, and invariably the wind is going to be a pain in the butt no matter where I go. So if I'm wanting to sit in a spot, like just say on the flats, and it's super windy, if I drop it only off of one end or off the other end, the boat's going to go exactly where the wind is pointing. You're going to wind vane, you're going to stick that way. But what if that ain't where you want to go? What if that's not pointing where you need to be pointing? So I like an anchor trolley where I can make micro adjustments to my angle in moving water even, which always be cautious in moving water. I keep a knife on my PFD. I carry one on my hip usually as well. But anytime you anchor in moving water, be aware of what's going on around you. Be aware of the situation. But in moving water, I like to some days I want to turn and I want to face down so I can cast across and work, fan it this way. Some days I want to anchor into the current so I can cast up and pull it to me. It all depends on the situation, but without having a way to actually fasten back and forth really quick. I mean, the GT cleat up here is really, really good for being able to move and adjust what I want, but I gotta admit there's nothing as easy as an anchor trolley. The other benefit of the anchor trolley is using it with a drag chute. Now, I will use a chute on the flats and drop it out to the side of me, and I can turn it and position the boat however I want. That wind can be blowing 100 miles an hour. You throw a drag chute out, it's going to slow you down. You can turn and pitch the boat the way you want to so you can comfortably fish. You're not having to turn back over or throw into the wind or whatever you want. You can change the pitch of the boat however you want, and it makes a huge difference in how I fish. So my serious fishing boats, I always put the anchor trolleys on there. I love them. I've got it on the X, I got it on the Bite, and they are just the boats that I spend the most time in are the ones that I want to tweak to be the best for me, to make the most of the time that I'm on the water. And I do that, having that anchor trolley, being able to fine tune in current, in wind, whatever situation. The anchor trolley is really a beneficial piece of kit to me. Hope this helps. Y'all take care.